Welcome back to the Ed Show. And finally tonight, I've been saying for months, it's all about Wisconsin when it comes to workers' rights. And the results are in. A real primary of fake candidates took place tonight. At stake, the balance of the state Senate and an opportunity to take on Scott Walker's union-busting agenda. This was a big hurdle for the Democrats tonight. 6 Republican state senators are facing recall elections. Today, their Democratic challengers in districts all across the state were forced into primaries after Republicans went out and recruited to challenge those Democrats. It's all part of the GOP strategy to sabotage the recall effort, to deplete their resources and give them more time to organize. Now the Republicans have claimed all along that their anti-worker legislation was all about the budget and fiscal responsibility. But this latest move is costing the taxpayers $50,000 per primary. Republicans also tried to use last-minute voter suppression tactics today. One white right-wing group sending out robocalls earlier telling registered Democrats not to vote today because the absentee ballot is in the mail. The general election is set for next month. We'll be there to cover it. Democrats need to win 3 seats to take control of the state Senate and roll back the anti-worker agenda that's been put out by the Republicans in Wisconsin, headed up by Governor Scott Walker. Joining us tonight from Madison, Wisconsin, is Washington correspondent for The Nation magazine, John Nichols. John, what's your take on the results tonight? This has got to be viewed, I think, as certainly a big night for the Democrats.
This is a very big deal, Ed. The Republicans recruited fake candidates, and then they said, oh, we're not going to campaign. We just want to put them on the ballot to delay things. But in the last 36 hours before the elections, they spent thousands of dollars on robocalls, emails, placing signs around polling places, and aggressive campaigning. You effectively saw the Democratic and the Republican operations in play in these primaries, and the results tell the story. The Democratic candidates won as much as 70% of the vote, many of them winning in the 60s as well. This was a very, very good night for Democrats and a real signal that they appear to be ready for those August elections.
What kind of turnout did you see in Wisconsin today, and what does this mean for the general election in August?
The turnout was much higher than many people expected. You know, we've never had elections in July in Wisconsin. It's never happened like this before, so people didn't know what to expect. But in all of these districts, you had tens of thousands of people coming to vote. There were lines at some polling places. We don't know the exact percentage of turnout yet, but it was a good, solid one, and in some of the districts, very substantial. It does suggest that the excitement about this fight, this battle over Scott Walker's agenda, is still very much in play across Wisconsin.
How resourceful are the Democrats going into the August election, August 9th, which we're going to be there to cover it? Did this deplete resources, in your opinion?
It did. Look, money had to be spent, and especially at the end, the Democrats really had to scramble to make sure that they didn't have one of these fake Democrats come through. But I think these primaries turned out to be the good. Former Attorney General Peg Lautenschlager, a Democrat, said to me tonight that the Republicans tried a stealth game. They tried to put everything they had in play, but at the end of the night, all of the Democrats, the real Democrats, came out as winners.
Yeah.
And that's the headline for tomorrow. It's not bad news.
And, John, knowing these results, do you believe that the Republicans will lose control of the Senate in a month?
I think it's going to be one of the fights of the century, Ed, and I happen to believe that these results signal, because of these 65, 70% wins by the real Democrats, that there's a genuine possibility that control of the state Senate in Wisconsin will flip, and that this state will again see checks and balances on an extreme Republican governor.
And quickly, next week, 3 Democratic state senators face elections. 2 are in primaries. 1, State Senator Dave Hansen, faces a general election. What are you expecting out of that?
I think Dave Hansen will win his race. He's got a very weak Republican running against him. And then in those 2 primaries, those will just be Republican primaries. But I think the Democrats are going to post their first win next week.
All right. We'll see you in Madison on August 9th. John Nichols of The Nation, great to have you with us tonight.